On November 16, 2009, members of the National Assembly voted 87 out of 87 to lift the parliamentary immunity of His Excellency Sam Riansy, Opposition Party President, upon a request made by His Excellency the Minister of Justice relating to the destructive uprooting of Cambodian Vietnamese demarcation posts in Chon Tria district of Svai Rieng Province. The decision to lift His Excellency Sam Riansy's parliamentary immunity at this time is to allow the prosecutor of Svai Rieng Provincial Court to subpoena and interrogate him in accordance with the court procedures. His Excellency Ang Vong Vatana, Minister of Justice, said,
His Excellency Sam Riansy removed the Cambodian Vietnamese demarcation posts. Thus, according to this letter of complaint, the state prosecutor has exercised the legal procedure and has been investigating the case. As His Excellency Sam Riansy is not an ordinary citizen, but given him an elected member of parliament, his immunity had to be lifted so that the investigation could be proceeded.
Mr. Chia Yeang, Chief of Chon Tria District and also the plaintiff, considered His Excellency Sam Riansy's acts a violation of the law, creating disorder and anarchy in the area under the jurisdiction of Chon Tria District. He incited people and led the destructive uprooting of 6 demarcation posts at point number 185, where the Cambodian Vietnamese joint technical teams agreed to demarcate the first reference point. Yet 2 additional reference points need to be found by the 2 countries' technical groups in order to officially plant the boundary posts.
I filed a letter of complaint on October 26, 2009, after the incident that took place on November 25th. In my letter, I made 2 suggestions. Firstly, requesting the court to sentence the offender by law. Secondly, asking that the offender be fined 10 million reals in compensation for damaging the public properties and the loss of time spent.
Brigadier General Pak Rem, Provincial Police Commissioner, stressed that His Excellency Sam Riansy's activities are a demagogic campaign intended for his political gain. The Commissioner obtained evidence that the opposition leader destroyed public property in the jurisdiction and emphasized,
he declared that he removed the demarcation posts and that he, Sam Riansy, is responsible for that action. I have assigned police officers to investigate at the site as instructed by His Excellency the Provincial Governor. I have first-hand evidence to the effect that I personally saw him uprooted the demarcation posts. He led some local individuals to remove the posts as he himself also did it, and he put the posts in his vehicle with parliamentary plate number to be brought to Phnom Penh. Second, I have identified witnesses at the scene. Third, his voice was recorded, describing his intention to damage the public properties and provoke racial discrimination.
the farmers of Kaw Kaban Kandal village and Buddhist monks of Ang Rom Dain temple have jointly confirmed that His Excellency Sam Riansy led the activity of uprooting the demarcation posts.
My name is Gatun, a resident living in North Kaw Kaban village. On that day, were you there when His Excellency Sam Riansy uprooted the posts? Yes, I was there too. I saw him actually remove the posts.
His Excellency Sam Riansy himself also acknowledged his doings through the Voice of America, aired on November 17, 2009.
For this matter, I, Sam Riansy, take responsibility. I personally went to uproot the post. Sam Riansy is the one who uprooted the post. I am therefore responsible.
His Excellency Chiang Om, Governor of Svai Rieng Province and Chairman of the Cambodian Border Subcommittee of Svai Rieng, said that the principles of border demarcation have been legally recognized and executed in accordance with the agreement and the related maps, which were ratified by the National Assembly in the Supplementary Treaty of October 2005. His Excellency the Governor believed that the destructive activities of uprooting demarcation posts by His Excellency Sam Riansy were a campaign against the execution of the supplementary treaty and hampered the work of the border committee of the two countries. His Excellency Chiang Am elaborated.
The work to demarcate the border posts between Saigon and Vietnam was started since 2006. We share approximately 258 kilometers of land border with Vietnam, of which 130 kilometers is with Vietnam's Tây Ninh province, and the remaining 128 kilometers with the Long An province. We have worked with two technical working groups from the national level in conjunction with the provincial level subcommittee. The first technical working group is tasked to define the boundary posts with Vietnam's Tây Ninh province, totaling 146 boundary posts to be laid out along 130 kilometers of land boundary. We have thus far planted some 20 boundary posts. The second technical working group is responsible to plant 54 posts along 128 kilometers of land boundary with Vietnam's Long An province, and we have completed the installation of 4 boundary posts. His Excellency Sam Riansy's actions have seriously violated the law because the border demarcation posts were implemented according to the demarcation agreements between Cambodia and Vietnam. In other words, we have confirmed that the paddy fields that were allegedly claimed to have been lost in and around the village of Koc Ban Kandal, Sam Riansy commune, still remains in firm possession of the Cambodian people.
Before reaching agreement on the defined demarcation posts, the Cambodian-Vietnamese joint border technical teams have spent a lot of time and money since March 2009 in searching for 3 reference points before the joint permanent border demarcation posts are installed. But all of these efforts have been hampered and destroyed by His Excellency Sam Riansy's activities. Mr. Kum Ponaban, Director of the Department of Geographic Information Systems and Mapping, and also Chief of Team Number 2 for boundary demarcation and the planting of land boundary poles between Cambodia and Vietnam, is leading the work of delimitation and planting of the boundary posts around point 185 in Chantria district. He said,
We have begun working on the post 185 since March 25th. We have agreed to take a measurement on this site, but as you know, that the work of the border demarcation is difficult. Vietnamese side protects their border, and so do we. So, to have an agreement reached is not easy. We have many reference posts, but we chose only 3. The first one is Juntuk Bridge in Vietnam. The second one is in Tadev village, which you can see from a far distance. And the third one is in Mae So Thangao commune. Unfortunately, His Excellency Sam Riansy had destroyed these demarcation posts, which indeed affected the demarcation work and the planning of boundary poles to be erected by the two countries. And his actions also hurt the Cambodia's dignity. As a member of parliament, he should not have done that. I am ready to answer any questions should he raise it and ask me, what am I doing here? He cannot just come and destroy the results of our work.
Concerning the allegations made by opposition leader Sam Riansy that the planting of boundary posts, which was conducted by the Joint Border Committee, has caused the loss of Cambodian land, His Excellency Va Kim Hong, Senior Minister in charge of Boundary Affairs and President of the Joint Border Committee, has denied any loss of land. The planting of the boundary posts was done by the royal government according to the maps that former King Norodom Sihanouk deposited at the United Nations in 1964.
In the case of Chantra district, where we are having troubles with His Excellency Sam Riansy, who had uprooted the demarcation posts, we have planned to erect a total of 27 poles whose locations have already been identified. However, in real practice, there's only 20 poles have been planted. Why do we say that he destroyed the public properties? Before we are able to plant the demarcation post number 185, we have invested greatly in terms of time and money so that the two sides can make a proper measurement. We have lost a lot of money and time. Our main aim of planting the demarcation posts is to clearly identify the exact location before we can erect them all. And if we find only one, we do not know when we will find the other two or three. At least we can plant around the already identified demarcation post to protect its location temporarily and use it as a reference point to search for the other 2 points to clearly determine the exact sites.
Apart from this, the farmers whose rice fields were supposed to have been lost because of the planting of boundary posts, as asserted by His Excellency Sam Riansy, have totally rejected the statement made by the President of the opposition party. They have also made it clear that their paddy fields have not been lost as claimed, and that they are still farming there as usual.
No one bans us from working on the rice fields. No one confiscates our land. I know in general all are not prohibited from working on the farm. I did not lose the rice fields. I have been working on the land since I knew how to work as a farmer. All the rice fields, which situated around the Buddhist temple, are totally belonging to all the Khmer peoples.
On October 11, 2005, upon a request made by the opposition members of the National Assembly, His Excellency Dr. Sak An, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister in charge of the Office of the Council of Ministers, as a representative of the Royal Government of Cambodia, clarified the allegations that the 2005 supplementary treaty resulted in the loss of Cambodian territory. At the National Assembly session, His Excellency Dr. Sak An said,
The border issue has been discussed since 1993 following the formation of the first coalition government. In 1995, prior to our official visit to Hanoi, we had thoroughly examined this issue within the government cabinet meeting. The opposition party has long been aware of the border issue and has been exploiting this issue for its political gain. So, why did they not request us not to proceed with this or that map, but rather used another map instead? Actually, such an opposition's request was never made. In one instance, His Excellency Sam Riansy raised the border issue during a royal audience before the then His Majesty, the King Norodom Sihanouk, in Beijing, in which Sam Riansy said, "Oh, Your Majesty the King, I have a very good map. It is the 250,000 scale DMA map. Hence, the DMA map scale 250,000 instead of the 50,000 scale map should be the basis of Cambodia's claims for any border demarcation process. In this regard, it proved that they failed to fully understand the use of the maps, which was very wrongly to have talked about the 250,000 scale map. It was only intended as a general reference, as the correct usages, which should be treated as a reference in context of the border delineation, not as he claimed it was very useful and very good. But the word very good presented a wrong side. It was completely wrong. So the issue he raised on that day was not something new at all. We have raised this issue for decades, many times over and over again in different circumstances, but none of the copies worked as a basis. The opposition's request of using this or that map, which should be used for analytical purpose only, was never happened. So if there was an exit besides what we went through over the years, they should have illustrated the same way that I have been so doing. Here, the government had done in a very transparent manner, since we had submitted everything to the respectful members of the National Assembly relating to the treaties signed in 1982, 1983, and 1985. That means there is nothing had been hidden there. So what His Excellency Sam Riansy has said it was better than this, it never found over the last several years. That is to say there was nothing.
Although the royal government has made clarifications on the border issue on several occasions, the president of the opposition party, echoed by a handful of national and international NGOs, has continued raising the same issue, distorting the truth and misleading the national and international public, and thus disgracing the National Assembly, which is a legal institution born out of the people's will. After these violations of the law, His Excellency Sam Riansy fled overseas, where he was reported to have told lies before the European Union Parliament, putting all the blame on the local people in Chantria district for uprooting the border demarcation posts. This shows that he is attempting to evade his responsibility before the law by using others as scapegoats. His Excellency Dr. G.M. Yip, member of the Standing Committee of the National Assembly, clarified that the suspension of His Excellency Sam Riansy's immunity was in accordance with the law and promoted the rule of law while respecting democracy and preventing anarchy. And it shows the irresponsibility of a member of the National Assembly who disrespects the law and neglects his duty.
I totally reject His Excellency Sam Riansy's allegations that he made against the National Assembly, in which he himself insulted the Cambodia's National Assembly by looking down on himself as an elected member of the institution. As the head of the opposition party holding a seat in the National Assembly, the suspension of Sam Riansy's immunity was legally conducted by the National Assembly in accordance with the following legal references. Number 1, the 1993 Constitution as stipulated in Article 81. Number 2, Law on the National Assembly Statutes that was passed by the National Assembly, adopted by the Senate, and then promulgated by His Majesty the King. And number 3, based on the National Assembly's internal rules, which, although they are not laws, must be applied at all time by members of Parliament. He, Sam Riansy, could use his own means, either a video camera or a photo camera, to film or take pictures of the demarcation posts and bring these records of alleged wrongdoings and submit them to the President of the National Assembly, who is his superior. In his capacity as an elected of the people in the 4th term of the National Assembly, he could then further submit a motion to the Joint Border Committee between Cambodia and Vietnam, and at the same time, he could send the same motion to Samdech Cho Hun Sen, Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Cambodia, who is the direct executive to enforce all legislation. He, Sam Riansy, could also send the said documents to His Excellency Saw King, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Interior, His Excellency Hao Nam Hong, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs, as well as to His Excellency Sok An and His Excellency Diep Banh, both Deputy Prime Ministers and respectively Minister in charge of the Office of the Council of Ministers and Minister of National Defense, so that they help seek justice for the people.
In a separate response to His Excellency Sam Riansy's allegations against the royal government to the effect that it is using the court to oppress the opposition, His Excellency Dr. G.M. Yip clarified that in Cambodia the judicial system is independent of the legislative and executive institutions. Mr. Sak Tiavut, President of the Cambodian ASEAN Youth Association and representative of more than 40 civil society organizations, expressed his support for the lifting of the immunity of His Excellency Sam Riansy, and regarded the reactions of a small number of national and international organizations as lacking an understanding of the situation on the ground in Cambodia. Sak Tiavut, President of the Cambodian ASEAN Youth Association, said,
The process of stripping His Excellency Sam Riansy's parliamentary immunity was rightfully conducted in line with the law.
At the same time, Dr. Koi TV, Professor of History and Law and also an independent analyst, regarded His Excellency Sam Riansy's acts as inciting anarchy in Cambodian society and intended to serve the political interests of Time Thai Prime Minister opposite and his allies, the Yellow Shirt Group. He said,
His Excellency Sam Riansy is being widely viewed as an anarchist. He lives in a state, but he does not abide by the law of the country. For Sam Riansy, at the time when Cambodia is being faced with a confrontational situation with Thailand on land border issue, he intentionally provoked eastern border tension with Vietnam. So he is the kind of person who creates very serious problems for the nation when border issues with neighbors are being legally pursued by peaceful means. He creates problems when our northwestern land border is still in trouble. So he is an evildoer in society and drives the nation into conflict with neighbors. Ultimately, the whole society will be victimized by his deeds. We never know if he had any association with Abhisit that brought him to create problems on both sides at the same time, meaning that Abhisit stirs up troubles at the western border and he himself does on the east.
as well, Dr. Chim Palvoron, Director of the Institute for Civic Education and a legal expert, provided the following point of view.
We can question if such an action could positively produce a solution to the Cambodia-Vietnam border issue or not. If every member of the National Assembly can uproot the border demarcation posts, and then all 123 parliamentarians could go to uproot them, why then should we have established the National Committee to handle the work of border demarcation? And then the National Assembly acts on behalf of the government, and if so, it is not necessary to create the government as the executive branch. For this matter, we must clearly ask the opposition party whether it has a genuine will to protect the territory, or he just uprooted the border demarcation post to show the general public that he is a hero who takes care of Cambodian territory, or his action was just to incite social upheaval to divert the attention of the public, who is now focusing on the border situation, which was invaded by Thailand and other related aspects that the Thais are creating with regard to Cambodia, to concentrate on his activities that so far have done nothing in this context of road with Thailand. A case in point, up to now the opposition party has done nothing to help resolve the issue of Revihir Temple since it began, as we have noticed that the opposition has remained silent. Now, to draw the people's attention, he created problems so that the latter can divert their focus from the issues that the Cambodian government has confronted with Thailand, to pay more attention to its unlawful acts carried out at the border with Vietnam.
It is worth recalling that in September 2006, the Cambodian-Vietnamese Joint Border Committee agreed to go to the field in order to install the boundary demarcation posts between the two countries. So far, 140 out of the 375 border demarcation points have been agreed by the two countries, and both sides are planning to complete the work of land boundary demarcation before the end of 2012. Speaking at the inaugural ceremony of the land border demarcation point number 171 at the Ba Vet Mok Bai International Border Checkpoint in Svay Rieng Province on September 27, 2006, Samdech Akayat Moha Senapadai Techo Hun Sen, Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Cambodia, said,
The marking and installation of land demarcation posts are an historical work which is very important for future generations. And these posts represent a symbol to divide the territory and sovereignty between the Kingdom of Cambodia and the Socialist Republic of Vietnam. And this is a response to the aspirations of our two peoples who have been waiting for so many years for this resolution. A new era imbued with full of hope is opening up, which legally provides our two nations with a clear and permanent boundary delineation, a great legacy for future generations to come. The border communities on both sides can now reside in harmony and transform the border areas to be the one of friendship, peace, and cooperation between the two countries and people, and for development without fear. We have a clear goal in transforming the border zone from a mere conflict of the past to become an economic development zone where the people can wage a better life and live in co-prosperity without fear.
in summary, His Excellency Sam Riansy's destructive acts of removing the border demarcation posts at point number 185, located in Chantria district of Svay Rieng province, is a clear violation of the law and created anarchy in society. His demagogic campaign seeks to achieve political gain by making scapegoats of others, as well as serving the interests of the opposite-led government. In a democratic regime, the promotion of individual opinions and views is highly valued, but an individual point of view cannot replace the noble interests of a nation. The destructive acts which were carried out by His Excellency Sam Riansy are contrary to the country's policy, which is to strengthen the rule of law and promote democracy. Hence, the National Assembly's vote to lift the parliamentary immunity of His Excellency Sam Riansy only paves the way for the court to implement its legal procedures.
Imagine